Whether it's the stock market, tariffs, AI proliferation, layoffs, or entire industries slowing down, there's a lot shifting right now. And when so much is in flux, it's easy to think, now's not the time to start something new. Or maybe it's the perfect time. Now might be the smartest time to start building something of your own. Because it's during uncertain times like these that having your own side hustle isn't just smart, it's necessary. Well, hi there, and welcome to Side Hustle Hero, the show that inspires action and helps you to turn your side hustle into a thriving income stream. I'm your host, Joan Posivy. Today, it's just you and me. Because with everything happening in the world right now, there's a whole lot of uncertainty in the air. And while some are feeling paralyzed by fear and self-doubt and anxiety, there is another way forward. In this episode, I want to encourage you and ideally inspire you to finally get that side hustle started that's been on your mind, or to breathe new life into one that's been sitting quietly on the back burner for far too long. And if I'm successful and today's episode has you thinking, okay, maybe now really is the time to start, but you're not sure where to begin, I got a valuable bonus to help you. It's a free guide called Smart Start, From Idea to It's Live in 7 Steps. It walks you through the exact process to get your side hustle up and running with clarity and confidence. We're just putting the finishing touches on it, and it'll be available soon. To get first access, head on over to sidehustlehero.com and join the Side Hustle Hero community by subscribing to the newsletter. That way, you'll be the first to receive Smart Start, From Idea to It's Live in 7 Steps. But first, let's uncover why now is the smartest time to start your side hustle. Let me paint a picture. Imagine someone who works at one of the automotive plants that's shutting down or slowing down production. Maybe their spouse or roommate works there too. And maybe their whole town depends on that plant or industry for its economy. Suddenly, it's not just their job at risk, it's potentially those of their friends and neighbors too. Maybe even their home value, their retirement funds, as well as their plans for the next 5 years. No wonder so many people are feeling anxious, especially when you add in the cost of housing and groceries. That scenario is why I've always been a strong advocate for MSIs, multiple sources of income. Because when one stream dries up, you might not be happy about it, but it doesn't take you down. If what you thought was your secure full-time job is no longer there, it may require a major pivot in making changes, but with a strong side hustle, you still got options. You still got momentum. You've got choices. I love this saying. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is today. You and I can't turn the clock back and change our choices of the past. If you didn't start your side hustle months ago, that's okay, because you're here now. So let's plant that tree. Years ago, I bought a delicatessen. It was failing. It was going out of business. I essentially bought it for the price of the equipment. And just like in our automotive plant example, the economy was terrible. Unemployment was high. People were leaving town, not moving in. By all external signs, this was a horrible time to get into business. And when I told the commercial lender at the bank I was working out what I planned to do, he gave me a whole list of reasons why I shouldn't, why it was a dumb idea. He said, "You don't know the food industry." Well, he wasn't wrong. I didn't. But I did know that I love to eat. But what he did not know is the strength and clarity of my vision. I had developed a clearer picture in my mind of what this deli could become. I also understood why it hadn't been prospering, and out of that, knew the first steps that I could take to start to turn things around and make it profitable. While other business owners in town were focused on what was wrong with the economy and how the local government was screwing it up, I was thinking about what could be right, what was working. I intentionally avoided the people who told me that business these days was terrible, and I sought out the ones who were pivoting and being profitable and still dreaming, still building, even if they were in other industries. And through all that, I started getting more ideas. I went to trade shows to bring back fresh concepts, anything that could make our deli innovate and stand out. We became the first in town to serve frozen yogurt, the first to do pizza by the slice, which sounds basic now. I mean, this was not rocket science, but it was innovative at the time. And we bootstrapped everything. In the early days, I had literally a list of debts that we needed to repay and what order to pay them in. And bit by bit, the deli began to flourish. Meanwhile, other delis in town shut their doors. But we kept growing. Why? Because I had a clear mental picture of what I was creating. Then I set out to take action on that picture. That's where everything starts, in the mind. Think about it just for a moment. The device that you're hearing my voice through, the clothes that you're wearing, the store that you last bought food in, all began as a single thought in someone's mind. Then they gathered thoughts and built an idea. And to that, other ideas added, and the image, the picture, began to crystallize even more. And chances are they shared it with colleagues, and eventually over time, you see the physical manifestation of it. You hear my voice through the device. You bought the clothes. You walked into the store. What's the image in your mind that you hold of your side hustle? Is it a prosperous one? That first day I walked into the deli as owner, it was quiet. The customers were few and far between. Now, while that was the current reality at the time, I was holding in my mind an image that was far different. I saw in my mind's eye the happy customers. I could hear the cash register ringing. I witnessed the referrals, the community buzz. It was a beautiful picture I'd built in my mind. I can still see it vividly today. And then the gap between what was the present reality at the time I took over the business and the image I held provided a starting point for the next steps. For example, one of the first things I did was introduce customized We Make You Bake pizzas. We sourced the best tasting ingredients we could find. Then we had to promote it. Across the street was a store that offered movie rentals. So I went over and made a deal with the owner. I said, if a person comes into your place and rents a movie, here's a coupon that you can give them for 20% off a We Make You Bake pizza. He's just given a gift to his customer. It didn't cost him anything, and he looks like a star. Similarly, I got a coupon from him for when somebody bought a pizza. I could say, hey, want to watch a movie tonight while you're enjoying that fresh out of the oven pizza? Here's a coupon for 20% off that you can redeem right across the street. It was a real win-win. Super simple idea. But my point is, the image that I was stubbornly holding in my mind was one of prosperity and growth for the deli. And I knew that the store owner across the street had a similar attitude to mine. We were both locked into how we can grow, how we can prosper, how we can provide more and better service, versus some other people in town who were focused on what was wrong and how bad things were and how we were all going to go broke. You and I both know that in any economy, there are people that win. They do well. Let's align with that attitude. So what does a successful side hustle look like to you? How does that change your bank account? What does your customer base look like? How does that make you feel? You're building your vision of your ideal future. Then you compare that picture to your current reality and say, okay, for that to happen, what are my interim goals? What needs to happen by a year from now? How about in this quarter or this week or today? Then you get those tasks on your calendar and do the work. That's how you close the gap between your vision and your current reality. You can't just move into a meditation and visualize bags of money and expect that they'll just drop onto your lap. It doesn't work that way. At least that's not been my experience. But when you do quiet the mind, you can start to get promptings, ideas of what your next steps could be. That's your intuition talking to you. And then you have to act. For me, the deli started as a side hustle. I ran it for about a year while still working full time until I built it up to the point where I could hand in my notice. And I'll never forget telling that same commercial lender, yep, the one who warned me not to do it, who listed all the reasons why it was a bad idea, that I was leaving the bank to run my business full time. His response, wow, you're so lucky to have a business to go to. Lucky? I'm thinking, I just smiled. I didn't say anything because I don't believe in luck. It's not luck. It's law, universal law. In fact, I wrote an entire chapter about this story and the process behind it in my book, The Way Success Works. Chapter 6, it's called, If You Can Hold It in Your Head, You Can Hold It in Your Hand. Because turning a vision into a reality takes more than a wish. It takes courage. It takes guts, it takes goals, and a huge dose of persistence. Now, here's a main point that I want to drive home, and another reason as to why now is the smartest time to start your side hustle. You don't need to wait for stability. You don't need perfect timing, and you certainly don't even to know everything right now. What you do need is, and what is in your control is, a vision, a little bit of time, and a commitment to yourself to follow through. Because when things get shaky, the most secure move you can make is to bet on yourself. You can't control what the company you work for does. You can't control inflation. You can't control somebody else's actions, but you can control whether you create something of your own, something that gives you flexibility, something that brings you income, something that gives you options. And that's why I believe so strongly in side hustles, not as a trendy concept, but as a tool for freedom, your freedom. Now let's get tactical. Here are 3 things you can do this week to take action without overwhelm. Number 1 is block out 2 focused hours. Open your calendar and carve out 2 hours for your side hustle. Treat it as it's like sacred. Even if you just brainstorm or research, honor that commitment. Get it in your calendar. Number 2, talk about your idea. It doesn't need to be fancy. Just share it with someone. That simple act can build momentum and perhaps a dash of accountability. But choose carefully who you share it with. You want to talk to someone who genuinely wants to see you win, someone who's supportive, encouraging, and capable of offering thoughtful input. If I were taking a risk or exploring a new idea, I wouldn't have shared it with my mom. I loved her dearly. She was a phenomenal mother, but she was always worried about me. She wanted me to play it safe. That worked for her, but not for me. So when I have a new idea, I seek out someone who's getting the results, the kind of results that I want. If I'm thinking of launching a side hustle, I'm not going to run it past someone who's just clocking in and counting the days to the weekend. I want to brainstorm with someone who gets it. Now, I'm not saying choose someone who'll always say yes to everything you suggest. I really value honest, constructive feedback. But there's a big difference between someone offering insight and someone projecting their own fear. That's why who you choose to talk to matters. And number 3, set a 30-day milestone. What can you accomplish in the next 30 days? Maybe it's launching your first offer or booking your first client. Maybe building a landing page. Choose one clear milestone and commit to it. And make the milestone very clear so it's completely obvious 30 days from now whether the milestone has been achieved or not. So something very clear and tangible is you've built and launched the landing page. 30 days from now, it's either live and shared with the world or it's not. That's what I mean by making it clear. And remember, you don't need to figure out your whole business at this point. Just the right next step. Maybe there's a side hustle that you've been sitting on for a while, an idea that's been quietly tugging at you. You've thought about starting it and building it, maybe even mapped out a few things, but for whatever reason, you haven't taken the leap. Maybe today is the day that you can brush off the dust and take a fresh look at how you can bring it to life. Because here's the thing, uncertainty is part of life. If your goals are big, if you truly want to live your best life, you're not going to know all the steps right from the start. When I bought the deli that was going out of business, I didn't know everything I needed to bring my vision to life, but I knew I had to start. I knew the first few steps. And once I took those, the next one revealed themselves. I like to think of it this way. Go as far as you can see, and when you get there, you'll see how to go further. The people who thrive aren't the ones waiting for the storm to pass. They're the ones who plant something anyway. Your side hustle doesn't have to be big. It just needs to be yours. And with that ownership comes freedom, because you're the one making the decisions, adjusting as needed, and building something that no one can take away from you, no matter what the world throws your way. Well, that's a wrap for today. If our chats are sparking your entrepreneurial spirit and providing valuable insights, consider showing your support by visiting sidehustlehero.com/support. That's where you can shoot me a virtual coffee. It's a real thing and a fun way to give the show a caffeinated thumbs up. Thank you so much. And remember our extensive guide, Smart Start, from idea to it's live in 7 steps will be available soon. To get first dibs, be sure to join our Side Hustle Hero community by subscribing to the newsletter over at sidehustlehero.com. There you'll also find the full show notes. If you're enjoying what you're seeing in this podcast, it would be so appreciated if you would take a moment and add your comment, share the episode, and please subscribe. It'll let others know that there's valuable content here to help them start and grow their side hustle. Thanks for watching, and hustle on.